afternoon, South Africa, and welcome to our Afternoon Express Thursday Masterclass. Now, since we are in the kitchen, I cannot be alone. I have to have my handy helpers. So we have to welcome resident chef and foodie chef, Dumi. Welcome back.
How are you, my darling?
Girl, it's always lovely to have you. And girl, are you slaying today?
You know, we got the memo, right? And that's why we had to make sure that we bring another slayer to our kitchen today.
Yeah, not only are we matching, but we had to keep the theme matching from our Tuesday Masterclass. Welcome to the loft, Silvana. Now, Silvana, you are somewhat of a pasta master yourself in all things Italian cuisine. But today, what do you have up your sleeve?
I have preparing pappardelle with fresh pasta, and then I'm going to show you how these are already pre-boiled. I'm going to show you how we're cutting it and how we present the dish with piselli and pancetta.
Delicious. Now, Mzansi, we are continuing our journey to make pasta perfect on our Thursday Afternoon Express Masterclass today. So settle in and let's open up today's menu. As I've already announced her as the pasta master herself, Silvana Marzatico joins us to cook a pappardelle pasta served with peas and pancetta. We'll be putting a twist on lasagna by adding brinjals and cheese sauce. And then we're ending on a sweet note with deep fried tortelli pasta infused with ricotta and fig. We also have two of our beautiful viewers joining us virtually to learn how to make gnocchi with mushroom and thyme sauce. I'm Palisa Tembe, and let's dive into this exploration. Chef Dumi.
Yes, my darling. So we started this journey rather on Afternoon Express on Tuesday with Jaco Brandt, where he showed us how to make pasta from scratch, first of all, and how to roll it, all right? And now today we decided to bring Silvana in, who's got a couple of different other recipes to share with us, but also techniques on how to cut your pasta and different ways to pair it in terms of flavor. So maybe you should take it away, Silvana. Show us exactly how we get started.
We will start to unroll this one, which is already been pre-boiled, okay? Like this is easier, and if you want to do that in advance, it's gonna save your time. We're gonna cut the pappardelle like that.
So this is fresh pasta. It's not store-bought pasta, meaning that it cooks quicker. So people mustn't be shocked what we've got here. It literally is just the normal plain pasta. It's just freshly made, and Silvana's showing us different ways to cut it and so forth.
And on that note, with the different ways of cutting it, Silvana, I just get a little puzzled when it comes to what type of pasta is what to name it, from fettuccine to pappardelle, and I believe there's a third one that's also very similar in thickness. Is it tagliatelle?
Tagliatelle, you have a few different types of tagliatelle. In fact, if you go to Bologna, in Bologna, the tagliatelle bolognese, there must be just 12 millimeter, because if they wider or thinner, they don't like it because they've invented that size.
But for today, we're making a delicious pea and pancetta pappardelle. So what do we need for it? I know on my side, I've got the pancetta and I've also got the Parmesan cheese.
So we need to put on the pan, and then we're going to need some olive oil.
Now, Silvana, while you're doing that, I just want to mention, I've started chopping up some onions for this, right? So these are part of your base for your recipe. We've got some onion, we've got some basil, we've also got some frozen peas that are going into your recipe as well. And it's quite a simple recipe, salt, pepper, cream.
Yes, very simple, very simple. So I'm going to add a bit of onion.
And I hope I'm chopping up my pancetta correctly. I'm just doing small little pieces here. You followed your parents' footsteps?
Yeah.
So talk to us about that journey and how they inspired you.
Okay, when I was little, I used to help my mom and my grandfather. They used to have like a small trattoria. They used to call it cantina in those days, because you could have, may I?
Yes.
Yeah. You could have a glass of wine and a plate of pasta. I grew up with them in the kitchen, and we were cooking every single day. My mom, she was giving me a small stool which I had to climb, and she started to teach me how to clean fish and how to clean the calamari, and she gave me a scissors. She put me close to the top, and I had to clean the prawns and all that. So I grew up in the kitchen at the restaurant with them.
Oh, wow.
But it was mainly old traditional Napolitan food.
So
very old recipe, you know, very rustic food.
So all the way from your mom's kitchen to our kitchen here at Afternoon Express, we're doing quite well when it comes to our first dish of the day.
Yeah.
You've already placed in the peas into your olive oil and onion mixture. You've also added the pancetta in there, and it's all simmering together.
Yes, it's all simmering together. Not for long, because otherwise the pancetta is going to become too crispy and it's going to change the flavor of the sauce.
Okay.
So we're going to put some salt.
And I also see that you opted for some frozen peas.
Yes, because sometimes the fresh peas, they're too hard and then it's not so easy to digest. I prefer the frozen to the can. I don't know. I prefer the frozen.
I agree with you, because I feel like the ones that are in the can, because they're so already cooked
Yes.
somewhat, you find that they'll break down much further, and you don't want
Yes.
the mush. You want them to
Yeah.
still maintain their shape.
Yes.
So the frozen ones work better, especially because you cook them directly from frozen.
Yes, yes.
Right. I also just want to ask you, Silvana, you're using pancetta in this recipe, because I know that with a lot of Italian recipes as well, they do use bacon. Is there a difference between the two, or?
Yeah, the flavor. The bacon, it's always slightly smoked.
Okay.
So it's changing, and then it's completely different flavor. But you can use. The bacon is a bit more, the fat is a bit more intense.
Okay.
But you can use, not a problem.
So, Silvana, you have added now the star of the day.
Yes.
What we are centering our entire masterclass over, and that is the pasta. Now, the timing of pasta is everything. I know that you prepare pasta al dente.
Yes.
That is quite different to, I suppose, Fumi, how us South Africans prepare pasta. We seem to overcook it all the time.
Yes.
Now, when you talk about al dente, I learned on Tuesday, it's to the tooth. Now, how hard or soft is that?
Okay, it must be a little bit white inside. Is that off? Yeah? It must be a little bit white. When you break the pasta, when you taste the pasta, it must be a little bit white inside still.
Chef Yaku showed us, or spoke to us, and told us that when you're making fresh pasta, the whole idea is that because you're making it fresh, it cooks much quicker. It's as quick as 2 minutes. So once you've made it, if you're not going to be drying it, then that's fine. You can cook it immediately. But the whole idea is because it's fresh, it cooks much quicker. Instead, like literally, you've just added the pasta into the dish and already it's cooked.
Yeah,
It's cooked. It's cooked.
All right, and this is our pat padelle that has our green peas in there. We've also got some pancetta. We've got some basil, some onion. We've just seasoned it with some salt and pepper, and then we finished everything off with some cream. If we were not using cream, could we use a different dairy product, perhaps like a ricotta? Could we use mascarpone?
You can use mascarpone. Mascarpone, it's slightly heavier, so you can use less. But what you have to do with mascarpone, you have to put it, just a little bit less than cream, because otherwise it's going to be very, very rich.
And what's your take on cooking pasta with milk?
You can cook pasta with milk, but you have to be careful, otherwise it's going to be watery.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, voila.
And I think we're going to finish it off with that beautiful parmesan that you
Yes.
just grated up for us, Balisa. And that's the one thing. So we're finishing off with parmesan. We also were having a bit of a quiz, Balisa, you and I, where we learned that the two main cheeses that pasta gets served with is pecorino and parmesan. Is that correct, Silvana?
Yes, you can mix the two of them in certain dishes. If you do a carbonara, definitely you need pecorino.
Okay.
You cannot do carbonara without pecorino, because it gives, it's very salty. Pecorino is very salty.
Okay.
Depends where it comes from. If it comes from Roma, pecorino romano di Roma, it's a bit salty, so that's why you mix with parmesan, and it gives completely different taste to your tagliatelle alla carbonara or penne alla carbonara, whatever. It's completely different. But by mixing the two of them, you obtain a delicious sauce.
What else is next after this?
Next, we're going to do gnocchi with a mushroom sauce and basilico as well. And later on, we're going to do ravioli stuffed with ricotta and figs.
Coming up, we're harnessing the power of connectivity and hosting two of our viewers virtually as Silvana teaches us how to master gnocchi served with a mushroom and thyme sauce. back to the Afternoon Express Loft. Now, in an ever-growing digital world, technology has the ability to connect those far and wide, bringing us together to share meaningful moments with friends and family. And thanks to Vodacom Home, we can do just that. In today's Masterclass Cook-Along, we have two viewers joining us virtually from their homes to join in on the cooking fun. We have Silvana back in the kitchen, where we are going to be making a delicious gnocchi with mushroom and thyme sauce. But let's say hello to our viewers at home that'll be joining us in the kitchen. Hey, ladies.
Hi, everyone. My name is Monica from Johannesburg.
Hi, everybody. My name is Zoliswa and I'm from Simonstown.
Zoliswa and Monica, thank you so much for joining us. Those are our virtual viewers locked and loaded. Dumi, are you ready for action?
I'm ready for action, Palisa. And like we talked about connection, there's nothing that connects us more than a meal. And I think Silvana's got the perfect meal for us to show us exactly how it's made, how it started, and how it's finished.
All right, okay. Gnocchi, it's like pasta. It's just very simple to make, very easy. We just boil potato and we put an egg yolk inside and some flour. So let's just start it.
Perfect.
By putting an egg yolk, okay, inside.
And into this recipe of yours, we've got the gnocchi that you're going to be showing us now. I've got some mushrooms, some onion, and I've got some thyme. And then Palisa's going to be grating up some parmigiano for us and some, basically showing us how the potatoes are made before it gets to this point.
Yes.
Whilst I'm peeling my potatoes, I believe we've got our very first question by Monica. Monica, what's your question?
My question to the chef is, what is a gnocchi?
What is a gnocchi? Gnocchi, it's a type of pasta. For us, it's also it's a main dish because it's slightly heavy than a plate of pasta. Obviously, because you're adding the potato into the flour, so it's slightly heavy and can really fill you up nicely if you have a nice plate of gnocchi, and can take you through the day actually. And but the secret is they need to be fluffy, and they need to be. You have to put a small amount of flour, because if you're starting to put too much, then they're going to become like stones, and you don't want that, you know? They're going to become so hard and very difficult to digest them.
Oh, wow. So, Monica, it seems as if this is the perfect pasta dish for winter, it being so hard. Do you think that you're going to be trying some gnocchi this winter?
I really have to.
Yummy. Okay, so we're quite well on our way in creating the gnocchi.
Yes.
What's the next step?
Okay, the next step is we're putting an egg yolk into the mashed potato, and then we're going to add some fine salt. We cannot use coarse salt because otherwise we can't roll them up. The salt is not melting nicely. And I'm going to ask you to pass me some flour.
No problem. How much? This is a 250 ml cover.
I would like two cup, 500, yeah.
All right, perfect. Let's do that for you. And is there a different type of flour that you would use for this, or is just normal flour fine?
This is a normal flour.
On the side?
But yes, on the side. This is a normal flour, but you are welcome to use cassava flour. Gluten-free flour. If you are a gluten intolerant, you can use gluten-free flour. And you can even put parmesan inside.
Oh, wow.
Or you can stuff them if you want. You know, you can create. You can be very creative with the gnocchi. But it's something that you have to make and boil. They can't stay for long on the table because otherwise they're getting the potato is going to absorb all the flour so quickly and they're going to get wet.
I just want to show something while you're busy. You're very light-handed with your hands as you're kneading this. You're not pressing on it too hard at all. Can you explain to us why?
Because if you're pressing too much, you're causing air coming into the dough. So the flour is not going to go in properly. And then you have to be gentle when you make gnocchi, otherwise they can't come out nicely.
Okay.
I'm going to show you when I roll them out now.
Okay, so the whole idea is to keep them light and fluffy.
Yes.
And not like dumpling. We're not kneading dough.
No.
We're just putting the flour and the potatoes together.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I've also just started chopping up the mushrooms that are going to go into this beautiful gnocchi. And so in essence, it's going to be the gnocchi and the sauce, which that's what the mushrooms are for, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect stuff.
Dumi, I'm so glad you brought up the sauce because it's all about the sauce in the kitchen. Zoliswa, what's your question?
My question is what other sauces can we use with gnocchi?
So what sauce can she sauce with her sauce? It's all about the sauce.
All the sauce that you like. You can do everything. You can use mincemeat and tomato. You can make nice bolognese sauce. You can use just plain tomato sauce. You can use anything you like.
I love a good oxtail sauce.
Oxtail sauce, ossobuco. Sometimes at the restaurant we're doing with the ossobuco sauce, and it comes out very nice. Or the other day I made them with butternut and blue cheese sauce. It was a very nice combination.
A very decadent option there, hey?
You can roast, you can
and very
roast.
wintry, very
very
wintry recipe.
I love that. I mean, Zoliswa, what sauce do you think you would try with your gnocchi?
Definitely bolognese sauce.
Yeah.
Sounding good to me. Okay, well, let's keep cooking. My little potato cubes are coming together quite well. But again, this is just the ground floor part of the recipe, putting together that beautiful mash that makes the gnocchi. But Chef Silvana already has it done and dusted there, quite literally done and dusted. How's it going?
Okay, we're almost there. So we're cutting a piece, here, and we're rolling it out. You see, you need to be very light. You don't press it.
Yes, I see you're using your fingers. I'm not sure if everyone can see that. Not the palms, but the fingers of
fingers. You're using your fingers. And then you can use every size you want. Okay. You can make it smaller. You can make it bigger. I'm going to show you how we do it. Now, gnocchi, you can give the shape that you want. You can leave them like that, as it is. You can make them longer. Mm-hmm. Some people, they make them longer. Some people, they leave them like that. And some other people, they just make them round, like that.
Okay. Oh, wow. So it doesn't really matter the shape of our gnocchi?
It doesn't really matter. But my grandmother, she taught me to make gnocchi like this. You put your gnocchi in the flour, and then with your finger, you just press it a little bit, and then you go on. Press it, go on. This is the old-fashioned way.
In Zulu, Silvana, we would say, "Uzoqeda nini." When would you finish? It seems like an individual gnocchi. You're taking forever. Zuliswa no monisha uyabona nje. It seems as if nje one by one will take forever.
Yeah, it's one by one. But in the olden times, you used to put 3-4 ladies in a kitchen making gnocchi, not just one person. And I remember as a little girl, when we used to go for lunch at my grandmother's house, she used to put a big bed sheet on a bed, a big white bed sheet, and all the aunties and the sisters, they were just making gnocchi and put them on the bed because we were many of us.
Oh, okay.
So because the space in the kitchen was not enough.
Well, I hope that we're reminding you here about when you were growing up, it being 3 ladies, or should I say 5 ladies virtually in the kitchen. Thanks to Vodacom Home, we can all come together and share in this wonderful fun and educational cook-along in the kitchen. Loving the fact that we're doubling up here on the fun.
What happens now? How do we cook the gnocchi? How quickly, how long does it take?
Okay, I'm going to show you now. It's going to be, we can start to do this,
Okay, while you do that, I'm also going to get started with our sauce,
Yes.
which is quite simple. I'm going to fry up some onion, fry up some mushrooms, and then add our thyme into that.
Yes.
But let's just quickly do this.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Bale.
I'm going to put some gnocchi now inside.
Okay, perfect. While you do that, I'm going to heat up my pan as well.
Yes, I'm going to add some salt into the pot now.
Okay.
And then...
And Silvana, typically, how long does gnocchi take to cook all the way through?
Okay, gnocchi, they just go into the pan when the water is boiling.
Okay.
And then you leave them till they come up by themselves. You don't touch them. They're going to start to float. And then when they come up, you know that they're ready.
I love that. A trick in the kitchen. There's nothing worse than having to kind of judge by your eye, by your naked eye, as to how far something is with cooking. But I love something that tells you how it's done. When it's ready, it just lifts to the top. Here for it.
Voila. Voila.
And the lovely thing I love about this recipe, I'm starting on the sauce right now, Palisa. We're going to heat up our onions here. Once they're hot enough and I've put in our thyme and I've put in our mushrooms, you don't even have to worry about straining your pasta, putting it on a different side. You can actually just put it in there, because what happens is that even the liquid from there helps to thicken the sauce that we're making because of that flour that's in there.
Delicious.
But obviously now we're not going to do that, because we want to show you all the different steps that we've made. We've got some gnocchi that we made a little earlier on. Once that onion is hot enough for me, I'm going to add a sprig of thyme. I always say this, when you're adding thyme, you don't have to worry about removing it from the stalk, because it basically just disintegrates and falls off anyway. You'll just take the stalk out
Afterwards.
Yeah, after it's cooked.
You see? Come and see. They're almost ready now. See? They're coming
Popping up like popcorn.
Yes.
Beautiful. This is coming together quite nicely. The aromas and the smells in this kitchen are to die for. And I'm loving the fact, Chef Dumi, as you are putting the mushroom in on this beautiful sauce that we're creating in the kitchen, Vodacom Home has helped us come together, whether it's with family, friends, whether you are on the other end of the world or just next door. Being able to connect virtually is what it's all about. Slipping into the digital age, having our viewers join us virtually, having our two gorgeous ladies are here for us. Ladies, now we've already shown you how to prepare this gnocchi quite simply, quite easily. But Monisha, do you see yourself making this at any time, whether it's over the weekend with your family and friends?
Yes, I think I can make it.
Pretty simple. I mean, Zoliswa, is it also a thumbs up from you, girl?
Yes, definitely. And winter is coming, we need comfort food.
Yeah, that's me. I need a comfort. I need a hug on a plate. Ladies, as we are whipping up, putting the finishing touches on this delicious gnocchi, mushroom and thyme sauce, I love that we can come together like this, no matter where we are, and connect with our viewers thanks to Vodacom Home. Vodacom is celebrating what the human spirits can achieve when combined with technology, shaping the future and the way we connect with family and friends, opening a world of opportunities. Visit Vodacom Home for amazing home internet deals, including super fast fiber, plug and play LTE or 5G. Now, what are you going to be putting in your gnocchi pasta? Let us know on social media using that hashtag Afternoon Express. Now, up next, we prove that lasagna doesn't always have to be consumed with meat, as we show you a variant made with brinjal, served with a cheese sauce. welcome back to our Italian treat that is this Thursday masterclass with our guest chef Silvana. Now, lasagna is definitely a staple in Italian cuisine and very much a classic. But who said that it should only be enjoyed with meat? So today we put a delectable veggie twist on this dish with our tasty brinjal lasagna.
Yes, Silvana, so I know you've given us all the lessons on pasta today, but I want to share with you a dish that Palisa absolutely loves. She loves lasagna.
Yeah.
However, we're putting a twist on it, Bali, because we're doing all veggie. I'm not sure if you saw the thread. We've been doing vegetarian dishes since we began, well, besides the pancetta.
Yeah.
But it's literally been very vegetarian. So we're keeping it in that theme by making a brinjal lasagna with a beautiful cheese sauce. And I think any dish, if the sauce is great, then the dish is absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
All right, so to start it off, we've got some brinjals over here. We've got some tomatoes. We've got some bocconcini mozzarella. And I think you're going to give us some tips on what exactly the difference is between the mozzarellas, because I need to know. And into our sauce, we've got some butter. We've got some flour, the typical staples for a cheese sauce. We've got some nutmeg and some milk. And then I'm going to season all of that with just salt and pepper. So to start it off, I'm going to ask you just to cut up slice up some brinjals for us. While you're doing that, I'm going to get it started with our cheese sauce. And it starts off just as a bechamel sauce, Bale. As you know, white sauce starts with the butter going into there. So to start it off, all I'm going to do now is just add some butter to a warm pan, a warm pot. The one thing I love to say is when you're doing sauces like this, you don't want your pot to be too hot because you don't want to burn the butter. It would be nice to get that brown butter flavor to it, but that's not what we're trying to do today. So we're going to let that melt up while it continues.
Silvana, I want to find out about the OG original lasagna. Now, I hear a rumor that Italians only put 4 layers of pasta, of lasagna sheets.
5.
Is it 5?
5.
And that is when it's considered a lasagna?
Yes.
Tell me more about that. Why 5 specifically? I mean, what if I want to put 3?
Okay, it needs to be tall, because otherwise it's not a lasagna anymore.
Tumi, you're really challenging me.
I have...
Putting brinjal in my lasagna, I almost feel cheated.
I know, Bali, that was the whole idea, because I wanted I know you've had brinjal before and you're not happy about the flavor. So this is why we're going to be showing the trick that we've done here, because a lot of people complain about this very thing.
Yeah.
Brinjal has this off-putting, bitter taste if it's not prepared right. And the reason is because you don't drain out that liquid that's in it. I don't know if you want to see what Silvana has here. She's got brinjals that we sliced up the fresh ones. She sliced up. We added salt to it.
Okay.
After adding salt, you let it sit in the fridge, room temperature, just let it sit. And what then happens is that this liquid that you see at the bottom there is what then causes that sogginess of the brinjal.
Now, brinjal is that vegetable, South Africa, that is, you know, eggplant. A lot of people call it eggplant or brinjal, but an aubergine also. It goes by aubergine.
Aubergine.
Essentially, my biggest beef with it is that the flavor, the texture. I just really, really struggle with that bitterness, and also just sometimes it's just almost like nothing. But here is a tip and a trick that Silvana and Tumi have shown by just soaking it in salt.
Yeah.
The water goes down to the bottom, and now I can truly enjoy the brinjal. So what flavors can I expect from the brinjal coming out now?
Well, now you can actually enjoy the true flavor of brinjal itself, because we've drawn out that liquid, which I know some people like when you're making some purees and stuff like that. But in this instance, we want it to be nice and dried out. This is how people even enjoy it, like a brinjal steak. So I just want to show you here how beautiful our sauce is.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been wondering why I've been standing right next to this pot this entire time, because when it comes to bechamel, you never want to leave the station. What I normally do is I pour my milk a little at a time, because I want to control the consistency of my sauce.
Yeah. Chef Silvana, when it comes now to this mozzarella that we spoke about, this fresh mozzarella, how can I prepare it best for this dish? Should I chop it up? Do I leave it as is?
Yeah, you can shred it with your fingers. You can chop it up, but if you want to chop it, or you can just break it like that.
Okay.
I love to do
wow,
that.
look at that.
Because it's very nice when you're opening up with your hands.
And our sauce is almost done. The only thing is, whenever you're going to be adding cheese to your sauce, like in this instance, if I wasn't to add anything else, I'm going to grate some nutmeg into that. If you weren't going to add anything else, this would be your bechamel sauce done and dusted, ready to eat. However, I'm going to be adding cheese to this. So whenever you're adding cheese to this kind of sauce, you want to thin it out first, because when you add the cheese, it's going to become all thick. So it is best to always make sure your sauce at this point is still a bit runny, because when you add the cheese, it's going to get thickened up. So, Silvana, may I ask you just to grate up some of that Parmesan cheese into this pot for us? And then we're going to basically start layering it up, Balisa. We're going to start with that beautiful velvety bechamel sauce that we have over here.
When it comes to making something authentically Italian, though, what kind of flavors do we see there that are quite prominent, that aren't really in all the other cuisines?
The really authentic Italian food for me, it's the ragu that we're making it on a Sunday. This is the it's a traditional thing that you do every Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's a bit long to do it, but it's there.
It's worth it.
It's worth it, and it's in every houses, especially in Italy. I mean, Sunday without a ragu is not a Sunday.
It's not a Sunday, right?
So I've just started with the first layer of cheese sauce at the bottom. As you can see, it's not a lot. The only reason for that is because we want to be able to secure our lasagna sheets. And keeping to the theme, we've kept everything fresh, including our lasagna sheets. We've made these ahead of time. Remember that dough that we had earlier? We just decided to cut it up a little thicker this time, because that goes into our lasagna here. And what we've got here is we've got our layers, our lasagna sheets that have been separated with some plastic wrap and a bit of foil just so that they don't stick. But other than that, that same dough that you'd use for pappardelle and tagliatelle, same setup. Can I ask you just to pass me the other ingredients there? And you can be as creative as you like with the types of pasta dishes that you can come up with once you've made this fresh dough. I'm going in with the cheese sauce, our bocconcini cheese. Now let's do for some of those eggplant. And the one thing I love about this eggplant now, this brinjal, is that it's going to give those beautiful charred lines and layers, making this even more beautiful. So this is all I'm going to keep doing. I'm just going to keep layering it up. After the brinjal, we go in with the tomato and the rest of it, and are we sticking to 5 layers?
I was about to ask that. I was saying, are we sticking to the authentic, traditional 5 layers, Dumi?
Let's see.
I'd like to think we will do that, Balisa. Let's see how far we can go.
Now, we're quite well on our way on this very inspired journey. So, Silvana, when we come back from the break, we're doing something a little different.
We're going to make, as a dessert, ravioli with ricotta and figs.
Well, Dumi, keep working over there with those layers. I'm keeping my eyes on you. Well, I'm definitely inspired to try this meatless lasagna dish because it looks absolutely divine. But I have a question for you. Have you ever tried and enjoyed pasta as a dessert? Well, fear not, because after the break, we flip this cook-along on its head and do something that's not quite conventional.
Join Olive Pride Chef's Tour and travel the country as we cook along with Luyanda Mafanya, Ruben Riffel and Jan Bry every Tuesday on Afternoon Express. Win 1 of 10 cooking appliances weekly or a grand prize of a kitchen makeover worth 150,000 Rand. To enter, buy any Olive Pride pack and dial *120*2462* with your unique code to enter. Prepare to be proud.
We've had classic fashion from Timby, classic cars, thanks Chad, and we've seen classic hairstyles. And you, Michael? Classic.
A classic range from Clover. Timeless taste.
Made with love by Clover.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express, where we are ready for our delicious dessert. Now, pasta can be more than just a savory dish, as Chef Silvana is about to show us in this masterclass. For a suitably sweet occasion, deep-fried tortelli pasta filled with ricotta and fig. And then we're going to finish it off with a generous serving of that Clover Classic custard. I'm so here for this recipe, but I've never tried it. I've never tried using pasta for something sweet.
I'm going to show you. We have already made pasta. The reason why we put it in a paper like that is because we want the pasta to stay soft and not dry out, you see? Otherwise, we're not going to be able to close the tortelli or the ravioli or the tortellini or the mezzalune, wherever you want to call it.
Whatever you're using.
Yeah. I'm going to put some semolina on my board.
And why specifically semolina flour?
It's just a normal, because the one that comes from Europe sometimes is too expensive, so I'm just using this. So I'm gonna cut one round one. Okay, and I'm going to make a cappellotto.
So, Dumi, essentially, these are just creating the shells of that pasta before we fold everything in.
Yes, and into that, Balasa, we've got a couple of different ingredients that are going to make our filling. Into that, we've got some ricotta on your side, an egg yolk, and some icing sugar. And then on my side, I've been tasked with the job of chopping up our figs. And you said because it's not a large recipe, I literally only need one.
But today, since there's just the three of us, I'm going to be using a little bit of that egg yolk, of course, coupled with the ricotta and that icing sugar. Okay, so I'm going to try this. Wish me good luck. I don't want to get this wrong. Okay.
Okay, perfect. So I'm also just going to start then with the cutting up of our figs. Do you want it finely chopped as in almost like a mash?
Yes, because almost mash, because we're going to put it in the ricotta.
In the ricotta.
Yes.
Speaking of which, what's the next step? I've got a little bit of egg yolk here in the shell, and then can I just put it in? Does it matter the order?
That's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
We put sugar. Yeah.
Custard sugar. Is it a lot?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Okay, let me take out some. How's that?
Yeah, that's better.
Better.
Yeah.
Okay. And then should I use all this ricotta?
Yes, all the ricotta. Okay. And
just that little egg yolk.
Yeah. Voila.
Just like that?
Yes.
Okay. And then I start the mixing process.
Yes.
Do I just fold it in?
Yes, you can fold it in like that. Yes.
Oh, super simple. And this is going to make that sweet inside, that sweet center that we need.
Yes. That's why we put a little bit more sugar. But obviously, you don't need to just put only figs. I mean, we're putting fig because they are in season. But you can put chocolate if you like.
Yes.
You can put chocolate. You can put spices if you want. You can put
if you want to make it a little savory, a little aromatics, maybe some cinnamon.
Yes, some cinnamon. You can put any type of spices.
So we keep chopping it down. Is this fine? Do you want me to
It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. We can mix now into the ricotta.
Perfect.
Chef, I'm going to hand that over to you just so you can take over.
Perfect stuff. So I see that the ricotta filling is a bit on this runnier side. It's because of the figs, I guess, it's going to thicken it up.
Yes, but you see, that's why we need to drain the ricotta.
Okay, perfect. So if you leave your ricotta out at room temperature for too long, then it separates and then has that liquid, and then that causes it to be too runny.
Yes.
And you don't want that. So the whole idea is to keep it in the fridge the entire time until you need it.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. This is looking a lot similar to ravioli.
Yes. So what we do, we can use different shape. We can use them square. We can use small. We can use big. We can.
How does it taste? How's the filling?
Good.
How sweet is it? Is it good enough?
It's not overly sweet. That's what I'm loving about it. And I think you would like this, Palesa, because you're not a sweet tooth person at all.
Okay.
And I'm also quite intrigued as to how it's going to come together, adding that sweet element to a pasta. Pasta is a dish that we normally enjoy savory. You normally have it with your meats or vegetarian with your vegetables. But now we're using it in our fruit and we're adding some delicious Clover Classic custard as a dollop on top. So I want to see, Silvana, as you are putting that together, what you did. You just took 2 pieces of your pasta and you sandwiched inside the filling.
Yes, this is a cappellotto. We could call it cappellotto because it's looking like a heart. See? We're closing it nicely. Yeah?
A lot of people tend to use water to make it stick together. Do we need that now?
No, we don't need that because it's quite sticky still. But if it stays long outside, then you can't close it anymore. You just put a little bit of water.
So is this the difference then between fresh pasta and store-bought pasta? Because the store-bought one, you'd have to cook the pasta first and then do this, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So there are different ways and different designs and shapes that you can fold our pasta in.
Yes. You see, this is like a tortello.
I think we should take this task onto me. I think you should grab yourself some pasta. I'm going to grab myself some pasta as well. And let's see who can make the best shape when it comes to our tortilla.
Okay, this is a mezzaluna.
A mezzaluna.
Mezzaluna. This
I'm going
is
to
a
take
mezzaluna, half a moon. Yeah? Mezzaluna. Make sure that we throw all the air out. Yeah, by doing that.
So that's also what I've noticed, that sometimes people make ravioli and you find that once it's cooked, it's as if the air gets sucked out of it. It's because this process is not done beforehand.
Yes.
Okay. Right, I'm also going to make...
Do me on your
try
side.
my hand.
Yes, please may you pass me some filling on that saucer. I've already added a little bit of flour onto my surface to make sure that it doesn't stick. Thank you so much, Chef. And I'm going to try fold as neatly as Chef has done here. I'm going to try make 2 mini pieces here. There we go.
I think I've decided to cop out because I made the cappellotto. Yeah, Palesa, I think you can take the... Is there a way of... well, I think it's quite simple, easy.
Yeah, it's very simple. It's very simple.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. It's sticky enough. I do not need to add any water to this.
Yes.
And then... Well, I think I might have overfilled mine.
Wow.
Well done.
Well done.
That's quite cute. That just started lifting almost immediately as soon as you put it in that hot water, in that hot oil.
Yeah.
Palesa, can I ask you to pass me the filling as well? Because I also want to try my trick at that mezzaluna.
I'm also quite impressed at Dumi's jargon in the kitchen today. It's almost as if she is straight from Italy herself. From Sicily. Hey, honey.
Well, I took some lessons before we got into the kitchen with Silvana just to get those terms correct. The whole idea is not to deep fry them until they're brown. You just want to cook them.
Yeah, you don't brown them, otherwise they're going to become too crispy and too hard. So we just make them like that.
So cute. And then here are these ones. I want to also see how the small little ones come out as well. It almost as if they flower when they start coming together quite perfectly. They raise to the top, they grow in size, and then they flower.
Palesa, while you're doing that, I'm going to chop up some more figs here just to go onto this beautiful plate of ours. And may I ask you just to pass us some of that Clover Classic custard that we can put onto our dish. In fact, you said you want to put a layer of custard at the bottom, Silvana, when we had a chat. Right, let's let you do that. Thank you, Pali. I'm just following in the steps of Chef Silvana here. A nice dollop of our Clover Classic custard at the bottom there. And then our tortellinis at the top.
Look how cute is your tortellini.
It's so cute. It's miniature like me. I love it. But also bite-sized. I'm going to be able to pop one in my mouth and enjoy. Looking so good. And just like that, voila, now what a treat. To get this recipe, just head over to afternoonexpress.co.za. And to make this treat even sweeter, remember that you can still stand a chance to win 50,000 Rand when you find the golden bunny on the Clover Classic Custard promotional pack. So keep the hunt going. Now that our delicious Italian menu is done and dusted, it's time to get to know Chef Silvana a little bit better around our dining room table. Find one of 10 Clover Classic Custard Golden Bunnies and win 50,000 Rand, plus a free Clover Classic Easter Hunt kit. Collect all 5 and join the Clover Classic Custard Easter Hunt.
Made with love by Clover.
Express yourself.
Welcome back where it's my favorite time of the show. It's time to get eating. But Chef Silvana, before we do get into this Italian-inspired cuisine, what did we have on the menu? What did we cook?
Okay, we started with the fresh pasta pappardelle with piselli and pancetta and parmesan and basil, which is according to the spring, it's like a primavera pasta, but we're going into the autumn, so we're doing the opposite. Yeah. And then we made gnocchi with mushroom and thyme and parmesan sauce. And then we made that lovely vegetarian lasagna with aubergine, grilled aubergine, tomato, and the fresh bocconcini. And then for dessert, we have ravioli. We made ravioli. We made cappellotti. We made tortelli filled with ricotta and fig.
Beautiful. Dumi, I'm ready to eat, girl. I can see you already put your crockery to the side. So as you're doing that, let's get eating. Please dish up for me. Let's start at the top. You know, I like to have a taste of every little bit of elements that came together in today's menu. And whilst you are dishing up for me, Chef Silvana, I believe you truly have experienced all things when it comes to not only Africa, but African cuisine. Can you just tell us about some of your travels and what you've just fallen in love with?
Yes, I was in Rwanda for 4 years, just before the war. I was there for 4 years, and in Rwanda, the land is very fertile. So all the beauty, all the vegetables, they are really nice. Like they have French beans, they have mushroom, they have artichokes, but they mostly concentrate on red beans. Oh. This is their main dish in Rwanda. They love red beans. They eat a lot of red beans, and they are beautiful pink banana, which we never see here.
No, I've never heard of a pink banana.
It's a type of pink banana that's skin is pink and the banana inside is pink. And it's more like that and quite fat, but it's an amazing banana to make dessert with. And then we moved to Kenya because of the war.
Yeah.
We moved to Kenya because of the war, and but in Kenya, the influence in Kenya, it's really Indian and Arabic. So I learned to make Swahili dish and Indian dish because I had friends that they were Indian, so they taught me how to make a nice proper curry, and I've learned a lot of the Swahili cuisine.
Wow.
And they also, in the Swahili cuisine, they make a kind of gnocchi with the cassava flour, which they call it manioca.
Manioca.
Manioca. And they cook it in a green banana sauce with tomato.
Dumi, tell us just about that peas and that prosciutto coming together.
The one thing I love about this is how the flavors are actually coming together. The sweetness of the peas coming together with the butter that we cooked, the saltiness of that cream that we made, the cream sauce, the pancetta, the salty sweet, and it also gives us texture. You know, the pancetta has that texture when you chew on it, and then the sweetness of the peas, that al dente pasta that we made. That's exactly what I'm enjoying right now, because that bite that you get when you're chewing on it. And I have to just commend you on this gnocchi. It is divine. It's so light and fluffy.
Yeah.
It is not, you know, that another thing I've noticed when people make gnocchi, they get it wrong where it becomes so hard to chew on.
Yes.
And that's not the idea. The idea is to have it like light and airy, and that's what I'm getting here.
Yeah.
And you paired it perfectly with the mushrooms in there. It really is divine.
It also just reminds me of what, Silvana, you said when we were creating the gnocchi, which you says sometimes if you don't get the ratio correct and you add too much flour or whatever the case may be, that's when your gnocchi becomes super hard, almost like mini rocks, and that's what we're trying to avoid. But the flavor here is absolutely delicious. And for myself, who loves herself some meat,
And I remember we were going shopping, the trolley was full, because in Kenya you don't see this. In Kenya you just go to the market and you choose your fruit and you choose your mango and your papaya.
it's very focused on fresh produce.
Yes, yes.
And I am a huge fan of lasagna, huge fan of meat, but I'm not missing it in this lasagna menu. I can see myself trying this on Monday, being meat-free Monday, or of course, if I want to just, you know, lighten up the diet, this is definitely something to enjoy. The creaminess of this dish as well is definitely coming through. The cheese, I can only imagine people just popping in all the different types of cheeses that they have in their fridge just to fill up the flavor and the taste.
I know, Palisa. And the one thing I love as well is that as you see, if you can look carefully, you actually see those different layers that we were talking about, and I can see those 5 layers that we mentioned, right? Clearly, it is definitely lasagna, but the flavors are so good. And that brinjal that you were talking about, any issues now?
No issues. 100% full marks. Dumi, as you are trying the dessert, chef, if you were to just give Dumi the dessert, I have to say a huge thank you for coming through to Afternoon Express and joining us. Not only are you truly sharpening our mind when it comes to Italian cuisine, but you continued the thread that Chef Yaku and Dumi started all the way in Rawsonville. Cheers to you, Dumzi.
Only a pleasure, Pali. I'm also about to dig in, because you know me and my sweet tooth. I'm going to take a nice little bite into this.
That's good. That's good. Pasta for dessert.
Pasta for dessert.
Now it's arrivederci for now, Mzansi, as we round off this week's deep dive into pasta. Now, if you've missed any of the steps, be sure to revise on our repeat this Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. Join us again on Tuesday and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. here on S3 as we celebrate all things Mother's Day. Dumi, you ready?
I'm ready.
But until then, Mzansi, good night, stay safe, and happy eating. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Here's to the last slice of summer and the first taste of autumn. Made with love by Clover.
Nada. Feel Good production.